Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Diana and the Book Hunt. Today I'm going to share with you some ebooks that I got during the Stuff Your Kindle day, which was about 10 days ago. So these are all free ebooks that I managed to grab for myself during that day. I'm very thankful to Bree from In Love and Words. I'm a member on her channel and she shared with everyone that on that day you can browse to see which books are available to grab for free. So I have about 30-ish books that I managed to grab for myself, and honestly some of them are by authors that I've never heard of before, so it's an interesting thing for me to just try out some new authors. But some of them are by authors that I know and love. Some of them are novellas, and I love that I got to just grab a couple of novellas because they typically are like palette cleansers for me. Or there's a couple of times throughout the year that some booktubers are arranging novella-thons where you can just read many novellas at a go to just kind of stop yourself and just enjoy some short, sometimes steamy books. So I've just gotten a couple of interesting reads for myself, and I kind of researched some of them. Some of them I just grabbed kind of spontaneously on the go, and I'm going to share all of them with you. So the first book that I managed to grab is Sex on a Plate by Thea Lambert. This book is about an artist, I believe, who decides that she's going to focus on her art and travel around the world. And during one of her stops, she meets a chef. So it's a foodie romance, and they strike a friends with benefits deal together. So I'm very, very interested in this one. It sounds really good to me. Next up, we have a shorter story by Evie Mitchell. I love Evie Mitchell. I've read her All Access series and I absolutely love it. And a book that she made available for free is The Shake Up, which is another foodie romance. This one is one where we have It's Always Been You vibes, which I absolutely love. And we have a hero who is very persistent, who is going to try to convince the heroine that they need to go for it. And I really can't wait, and the cover is so cute, y'all. I just cannot wait to pick this one up. And then we've got The Girl He Needs by Kristi Rose. This one, we have a heroine who runs into car trouble and she accepts the ride of a guy who is going to the same location as she is. And it turns out that they're going to be working together at this flight school where I think he owns it. So it's going to be a workplace romance as well. And it kind of also gives Grumpy Sunshine vibes to me as well, which I absolutely love. So I'm really curious about this one. And then we have a very short birthday novella by Malone. It's called Birthday Cake. And if I'm not mistaken, this one is just 50 or 60 pages long. So it's going to be a short and I believe steamy read. So I'm here for that. Then we have another novella by Cassie Mint. I love Cassie Mint. She is kind of unhinged with her novellas, always has very original and very kind of crazy ideas when it comes to her novellas. And the one that I managed to get is called Room 10. And it's a White Shoes short novella where I think that I just read the first sentence and I was like, okay, sign me up. And that sentence was, my uncle is auctioning my innocence to the highest bidder. And it's White Shoes. So I'm very curious about this one. Then we have a romance, which is called Dance for Me by K.L. Parker. And in this one, we have a heroine who is in financial trouble and she is going to start working at a BDSM club and she's going to possibly dance, hence the title. I love dancing romances, so I really, really am curious about this one as well. And then the next one is a small town romance. It's called Accidentally Yours by Alexa Rivers. This one is about a journalist who has had some kind of an unlucky situation at her work. So she kind of has to prove herself at her work. And when she goes back to her hometown, which is a small town, she kind of wants to find the next scoop on some kind of a billionaire who lives there. And he's a single dad, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not very sure, but it's this kind of a situation. So I'm curious about this one as well. And then we have a book that I'm very, very curious about because marriage in trouble is my all-time favorite trope. And even though it's a novella, I'm very curious to see how this one is gonna play out. The book is called Taste by Minx Noir, and it's kind of on the cover, I think. It's mentioned that it's an erotic novelette. So we've got Marriage in Trouble, it's an erotic short story, and the cover is also gorgeous, so I'm really stoked about having this one in my Kindle as well. Now, we have a couple of hockey romances during this book haul that I'm not sure that they're gonna be any good, but I still snagged them, so let's just go through one of them. The first one is Hottie by Obie. This is a novella, so let's see, I think it's new adult, so we're gonna see how that one will go. And then we have one by Elle Cotton, which is called Iceburn. And because Elle Cotton is going to be in Florence at the book signing that I'm going to attend, I really want to pick this one up. We have the next one, which is not a hockey romance. It's a neighbor, single dad, steamy romance called One More Day by Malone. And then the next one, it's a football new adult romance called Spinning Out by Lexi Ryan. We've got a hero who has had a bit of a rough streak because he's been partying too hard. He got suspended from his team and he needs to stay with his best friend's girlfriend with whom he's always been in love. So we've got a pining hero, a forbidden situation, best friend's girlfriend. So yeah, this sounds interesting. The next one is Her Wild Roommate by Adele Knight. It's a short and steamy roommate novella. And then another novella that I'm very curious about because I have heard a lot about Nikki Castle's books. And this one, I specifically think, if I'm not mistaken, Caitlin from the Love Librarian really liked this one. It's called The Stranger in Seat 8B. This one is a novella between two strangers who meet. They're sitting together on this plane. So it's going to be kind of a short adventure, if you ask me, but interesting one on this plane ride. So I'm very interested about this one. And then we've got a book, another sports romance here. It's called Redlined by Cala. And this one focuses on racing. Now, I love all kinds of romances that don't focus on the typical types of sports like hockey, football, etc. So any kind of sport that is a bit different than those is something that I'm very curious about. So I'm very curious about this one as well. And then we've got another book by Elle Cotton. It's another short novella and it's a Halloween novella. So I'll possibly pick it up somewhere in fall. It's called Trick or Treat. So we'll wait for that one to pick it up in fall. And then we've got a full-length novel, which is by Nora Everly. The book is called In My Heart. This one is a single mom, second chance, small town romance, and the cover is, I think, very cute, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember it well. So I think I snagged this one because of the cover. The next one is called Red Card by Crowe, and it's a soccer romance, or another sports romance, and this one is Friends to Lovers. So we'll have to see how I like this one. Now, another book that I think has to do with planes or flying, in any case, is called Up in the Air by Eden Weber. This one is a billionaire forbidden novella between the billionaire and his flight attendant. So another short, possibly steamy read that I can look forward to. We've got another sports romance on our hands, but this one has to do with a fighter, an MMA fighter to be specific. And it's a small town sports romance that also involves a single mom. And I think they're neighbors, if I'm not mistaken as well. So this one is by Josie Kerr and it's called Fighter. So I'm very curious about this one as well. Next up, we've got another sports romance, but this one focuses on basketball. It's called Temptation by Chiquita Dennie. This one deals with a basketball coach and a teacher at the school where he is a coach. And it's an age gap romance. Now, if I'm not mistaken, when I was reading the synopsis for this one, I really got interested because I think that he is a coach who kind of needs someone to analyze some statistics for him, and she is the type of teacher who can do that. So he enlists her help with this, and she's kind of nerdy and he's kind of like a jock, so it's kind of opposites attract. So I'm curious about this one for sure. The next one I think I specifically got because of the cover. It's called Sensual by Kiki Renee, and I actually didn't research the tropes. I just researched it for the video, and I saw that it's brother's best friend. I'm not a fan of this trope, but I'll see whether I'm gonna find time or the mood will strike to pick this one up. The next one is another hockey novella. It's called Teamwork, and it's by Lily Harlem. And the interesting thing about this one is that it's a menage novella, so there's going to be it's a male female situation, so I expect the steamy time, short novella, possibly a palate cleanser, so we're gonna wait out and see. And then another menage book that I found is Keeping Grace by Danielle Hart. This one is a menage cowboy romance, so another one that I can use like as a palate cleanser. Next up, we have a book by Piper Lawson, who's also going to be in Florence for the book signing that I'm going to attend. The book is called Crave, and it's a forbidden student-teacher romance. And I think it's new adult, so I think it's not like high school forbidden, but more like a college forbidden situation. So I'm curious about this one. And then we have an interesting premise here. It's a novella again. The book is called The Ticket by Terry Blackwell, and it involves a policeman who issues a ticket to a woman, and it's their story. So I've never read a book with this premise before, so I'm curious about this one. And then we've got another book by an author who is going to attend Rare in Florence, D.L. Smith. The book is called Distrust, and it's marketed as a dark, steamy romance. And to be honest, I think I grabbed it because this author is going to attend Rare, but also because of the cover, because you have this gorgeous cover model who is tattooed, and I just kind of shopped with my eyes and not so much with my brain on this one, so you have that. And then the next one is Formula for Seduction by Amelia Simone. This one is a coach I think I mixed it up. I think the other one that I mentioned that was professor and coach. The synopsis might have been for this one, I'm not sure, but this one is again coach and professor, workplace romance, sports romance, and opposites attract. So I think the synopsis might have been for this one, but we'll have to wait and see when I read it. And then we've got another book that is a new adult football romance, or another sports romance called The Game Plan by Ali Lasky. There's a lot of new adult stories, so I'm gonna be honest here. I don't know how many of these I'm going to get to by the end of the year. I think I'm going to be maxed out on new adult stories if I read all of these at like one go, but I'm happy to have them at my disposal, so I'm going to see which one sounds the most interesting to pick up. The next book is one that I actually didn't find any synopsis or information of on Goodreads. The book is called Theater Lovers by Sierra Bloom, so I'm going to have to check on Amazon what this book is about, because I didn't find anything on Goodreads, but I assume it has something to do with theater, actors, or performers, so we're going to have to go off of my assumption here. The next book that I got during the Stuff Your Kindle day is Canadian Summer by Kimberly Ann, and this is a small town second chance romance. Second chance is one of my favorite tropes, so I had to get this one. And then another novella that is focusing on sports, but this time boxing, is called Fight for It by Amy L. Gale. I love boxing, even though I don't like violence. I don't know why that is, but I think because my partner loves boxing and I typically watch with him, I love boxing, so I'm curious about this one. And then we've come to the last book by Skye Warren. I have to say that Skye Warren, I've read a couple of stories by Skye Warren, and a couple of them I really did not enjoy very much, but I'm willing to give them another chance. And this one is called Caught Between Two Billionaires. It's a billionaire menage. story where we have, again, male, male, female situation. And typically when we have shorter stories that are focusing on this theme, I can suspend my disbelief in most of the situations and can understand why there is insta love or insta lust. So this may work for me. We're gonna have to wait and see. And yeah, I'm basically really happy that I was kind of clued in that there is this kind of day where you can just grab a couple of books, ebooks specifically, for free, because you can really try out new authors and kind of find new stories that you may enjoy. And I'm just so happy that I got to get all these books. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to read all of them at one go, specifically because right now I'm reading more audiobooks than ebooks because I just don't have the time. But I think that when fall season and winter season comes in and I'm going to be more at home, I'm going to have more opportunity to read physically. So I'm going to be picking up a lot of these books. I'm really intrigued by many of them, and I'm very curious to see if you got some free ebooks for yourself on this day. Which ones did you get? Did you get any of the ones that I got, and are you intrigued by them? Just let me know down below in the comments, and I hope to see you very soon in the next one. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Happy reading. Take care.